Episode 114, NASW opposes ASWB exams, What We Know Now, on the Social Workers Rise podcast. Hello, and welcome to Social Workers Rise, where we inspire social workers to connect, expand their knowledge, and change more lives than they ever thought possible. We will talk everything social work on every level from micro to macro. We are going to hear stories of social workers who are doing big things, learn new skills, and most importantly, give you actionable steps to make a difference today. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Social Workers Rise. It is your host, Catherine here. If you don't know who I am yet, my name is Catherine Moore. I'm a licensed clinical social worker based out of Southern California, and I am a social work career coach, a mental health expert. I do public trainings, public speaking. What else do I do? Therapy, teletherapy. So I do a lot of different things. But I wanted to talk about what has happened in the past 7 days. So I'm recording this on February 10th. February 10th, and it's been about 7 days since the NASW, or the National Association of Social Workers, has come out opposing the ASWB exams. So we're going to break this all down because this also impacts our ability to practice interstate, or if you're licensed, they're working on a licensure compact that would allow you to provide therapy in different states, which we like this, right? More expansions, more opportunities. So this is all connected and it's a hot mess, but we're going to break this down together. Okay. Let's start from the beginning. Okay. So last summer, the ASWB released the social work licensing exam pass rate data. And the ASWB organization, if you are not familiar with them, they are the Association of Social Work Boards, and they are the organization that develops and maintains the social work licensing exams that are used to test a social worker's competence and practice ethically and safely. These are their words, not mine, right? Because I know there's a lot of debate around, do these tests actually measure competence? Are they ensuring ethical practice and safety? That's the big question, right? How do we measure competence? How do we keep social workers competent in the field? And additionally, just because you pass the exam, it doesn't mean that you're a good social worker. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, but it doesn't mean that it means that you're a good social worker, right? It just means that you have these test-taking skills and you know how to answer their questions the way that they want you to answer the questions. So overall, back in August 11, 2022, the NASW, the National Association of Social Workers, who is one of the largest social work organizations in the country, in the United States, they came out with this statement, right? So the ASWB social work licensing exam pass rate data confirm the concern over racial disparities, right? So on August 5th of 2022, the ASWB released the exam pass rate analysis. And I'm not going to get into this whole analysis, but it highlights a lot of disparities, right? Around race, around age, around English as a second language. I did a whole podcast episode on this, episode 98, Why the ASWB Passing Rates Matter, right? You can go back and listen to that on the Social Workers Rise podcast. So, and I'm reading the statement from NASW that was released. This disclosure stems from years of advocacy by NASW and other social work organizations, schools of social work, and individual advocates to push ASWB to post data that it has been unwilling to release for decades. The data revealed glaring disparities in pass rates among racial groups, particularly for Black test takers. It also raised concern about disparities in pass rates for other demographics, including social workers who are older adults. All social work institutions, including ASWB and licensing boards, NASW and other associations, and social work higher education programs must openly confront systematic racism within our profession. We must all commit to work to ensure reforms are made to ensure the licensing process is equitable for all, protecting the public without unnecessary gatekeeping and discrimination. So that was last year, right? They came out with that. And then just last week, on February 3rd, 2023, the NASW came out with another statement saying that the NASW opposes the ASWB social work licensing exams after a review of the data, right? The NASW is prepared to oppose the social work interstate compact legislation that is currently being developed. So y'all, this is happening right now because last I've seen is that the social work licensure compact is going to be ready to release to the states on February 27th. That is not very long from now. So the compact is ready to move forward, and there are various social work organizations who support this compact, except NASW, which is huge, right? Drama. So if you want to learn more about the compact, I also did an episode on this, episode 95, the social work licensure compact, talks about everything that you need to know. Basically, what it is it's going to allow licensed social workers to practice in different states, to practice in states that have signed up to be part of the compact. And this compact goes into effect after 7 states have elected to join in. So on February 27th, states are going to be given the opportunity to join the compact. And currently, this compact includes that social workers have passed a national exam, aka the ASWB exam, who has shown to be, discriminatory. Drama. So this is just so. I hope I'm doing a good job of explaining this. Let me know if you have questions about this, and I will do my best to answer. I'm relaying the information as I see it. Additionally, there is a change.org petition called the ASWB End Discriminatory Social Work Licensing Exams. On this day, February 10, 2023, it has over 10,000 signatures to end the licensing exams. And amongst the community, there are a lot of different opinions on what to do about this. One, just get rid of it. Get rid of the exams altogether. Another opinion is it needs to change, but we're not really sure how. And other people say like, hey, I passed it. I got it done. Keep it the same. So I don't know where you are on the spectrum. I don't even know where I'm at. I'm still processing and learning all of this. I do know that there are pros and cons to all of these areas. Hey, it's Catherine here. I hope you are enjoying this episode. We're going to take a quick break to listen to these ads from our sponsors. If you're planning to take the BBS Law and Ethics exam, the ASWB Master's or Clinical Licensure exam, or if you're studying for the MFT exam, then you need a proven program that can help you understand the exam questions and pass with confidence. If this is you, I highly recommend the Therapist Development Center. I personally use TDC to pass my law and ethics and clinical exams and found the program provided me with everything I needed to pass with confidence. TDC's program integrates various ways of learning in an organized fashion, containing all of the information you need
to pass without the overwhelm. And now, bonus, TDC is also offering a library of continuing education courses that fulfill your license renewal requirements and will support you in your career development. If this sounds like something that you need, visit their website, therapistdevelopmentcenter.com, and use the code SWRISE10 at checkout to receive 10% off any of their CE courses, including their brand new course, On the Edge of Life, an Introduction to Suicidality. You can also check out the link in the show notes.
And, some of the questions that we as a social work community have is, one, how will this impact the social work reputation and our pay as an industry? Because currently we are drastically underpaid. That is not a secret, right? That we need higher wages. And part of that higher wages comes when we get licensed, right? So it's like, yay, I got my license. Now I can make more money. Now I qualify for additional jobs to make more money. If there is no exam, what do we do? Does the licensing go away? Like, what does this look for the future? How do we really ensure that people understand the laws and the regulations, that they're practicing ethically? Like, how do we hold them to that standard? Because right now, if I mess up and I do something unethical, or if I, if I mess up, right, you can come after my license. And that's how it is for everyone who's licensed, that it's a way to keep you accountable, right? There are consequences, and that would be the consequence coming after your license, because then that means that you wouldn't be able to work, right? But if we take away this exam, how is that going to impact, what we do? Also, if we have no exam to pass, is this going to diminish our value in the workforce? Are they going to be using that as a reason to pay us less, which we don't need? Also, too, on the flip side, this is a barrier to addressing the social work shortage, right? So our industry is expected to grow faster than most other industries at a rate of 9%, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, between now and 2031. So I understand that we do need more social workers. Also, too, this is a multifaceted issue because we are burning out. We are leaving the industry. We are exploring our options. We are going corporate. We are going macro. We are going policy. We are out of here in our entrepreneurship ventures. There are so many different factors that lead into this. Additionally, saying that a lot of times people can't even pass the licensing exam. Does that mean that they're not a good social worker? Probably not. You're probably a great social worker. Maybe you're a sucky test taker, right? So there's so many different aspects to this problem. I will say that there is an update from the ASWB, right? So they have been doing these social work compactor licensure. I got my words all twisted, but they've been going to these meetings, right, to implement this compact. And there were several ASWB representatives at the meetings who outlined what they are going to do to remove these existing disparities. And I thought they were pretty interesting and worth mentioning, because this is the first time that I've seen ASWB actually responding to this, right? And this comes from the national, oh my gosh, I don't want to butcher their name, from the the Association of Clinical Social Workers. I believe that's what it is. There's another Association of Clinical Social Workers. So they are also part of this meeting. And this was from an email that they sent out, that the ASWB representatives, they are planning to make these following changes. They have hired an organization called Fifth Theory, which will help any applicant who fails an examination improve their testing skills. They are planning to continue to gather detailed data to assess whether the disparity gap closes and to release this data every year. Okay, so a little bit more transparency. They are considering allowing applicants to only retake the parts of the exam that they have failed. Okay, not impressed. They are reducing multiple choice questions from 4 to 3 choices to decrease test taker fatigue and burden. And I have heard that this is currently rolling out where they have, like, some areas have the 3 choices to increase your chances of getting it right. They will continue to engage in practice analysis, which I don't know what that means. They will create an RFP to conduct research on their data relative to the pass-fail rates. And they may make the examination optional for new MSWs and BSWs who wish to join the compact. Okay, so that last one, if this exam is optional, I don't know. What does that mean for the industry? What does that mean for us as we continue on our social work journey? I don't know, y'all. I just don't know. So let me check the comments here. Let's see. They already diminish our field, and most likely they will be use this opportunity to lower the salary. Most places want to offer $50 to $60K after license. Yeah, I mean, I hope they don't. I know that we have been doing a lot of really great advocacy work around higher pay and just demanding our worth, right? Like, I'm going to be doing a workshop called the clinical, my gosh, I'm getting all my words mixed up. Success in Clinical Social Work, where I'm going to show you how you can negotiate for higher wages, for a raise, negotiate when you get a job offer, and different strategies to increase your income. So I'm loving that this is becoming more of a conversation, as opposed to before, where it was so hush hush and we just never talked about salary. So yes, it's good. I'm glad. I'm happy to see this change. Thank you for listening to this episode of Social Workers Rise. I wanted to clarify that the organization who has been involved in the compact conversations that I referenced earlier, it's the Clinical Social Work Association, and they call themselves the National Voice of Clinical Social Work. So I just want to be sure I was clear on that. If you got value from this episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast and also send this episode to a friend or a colleague or somebody who needs to hear it and get this information. Sharing is caring. We are eliminating the gatekeeping in our industry. So definitely don't be shy about getting this information out there. If you want ongoing social work resources, I encourage you to consider joining the Friday resource email list, where I will send out updates on the podcast, but also other tips, tools, resources, workshops relating to social work. Lots of really great, good information on the Friday resource email list. The link is in the show notes. Lastly, I do want to remind you that my workshop called Success in Clinical Social Work is coming up on February 21st. If you want to know how to get strategies to increase your income, to negotiate your next raise, and to be well in social work, how to be resilient, then definitely sign up for this workshop. I will not leave you disappointed, I promise. And join us next week. Next week, we have an amazing social worker coming up, and we're going to talk about what social work in public health and disaster response looks like. So be sure to join us for that too. Thank you for listening to another episode of Social Workers Rise. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe and text this episode to a friend. If you want more, there are a few ways we can get to know each other and work together. First, definitely subscribe to the Friday resource email list. The link is in the show notes. And that's where you can learn more about the courses I offer including Clinical Essentials for the Future Therapist and the Pulse Basics for Medical Social Workers. I'll also be sending out occasional tips and resources and other happenings within the social work industry. And for all your clinical supervision needs, be sure to visit risedirectory.com. This is a national directory of clinical supervisors for social workers, and we also provide free resources that you can use within your own clinical supervision. Lastly, if you have more individualized needs, I do offer coaching, individual consultations, and am available for public speaking engagements for social workers and change makers. Lastly, the boring legal stuff, but very important. The information in this podcast is not meant to be a supplement for therapy, professional advice, or clinical supervision. This content is provided as is solely for informational purposes. It is not legal, health, or safety advice. I am not advising you as a therapist. Organizations should engage their own experts to ensure any adopted measures are compliant with applicable laws and standards in their jurisdictions. The opinions expressed by individuals or organizations are their own and do not reflect the views or opinions of Social Workers Rise or Catherine Moore. References to specific products or organizations do not constitute any endorsement or recommendations by Social Workers Rise.